Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm sorry about the lighting in here. It is really dark. My office is just dark in general. So I think I'll stay in this video. I don't know. Do you guys care if I'm in the video or not? I'm sure you don't really care to see me in the corner of these, but I'll try it out anyway. Like the title of this video says, I'm going to show you today the engulfing indicator I found on TradingView that I have found really helpful. And also, guys, don't forget to subscribe. I'm going to include my free Discord in the description. I'm going to try to remember that today. And yeah, first, before we get into anything else, I want to show you the trade that I actually spoke about. This is gold, by the way. On when did I upload that? Sunday? I think Sunday. So it played out really well. And I'm trying to find our previous entry. I believe it was up here, right? We were waiting for a break and a retest. I'm just thinking because I did re-enter at this breakout as well, but this did work out either way. So that's good. And now I'm looking at another sell. So you can write down these levels if you want to, but I will share them again on my Instagram. So if you keep up with me there, and that'll be linked below too. Yeah, you can see it there, but I did just want to go over that again. Also, if you have any tips on, like sound quality or the quality of the actual video, let me know. I do need a better camera. I'm just using like my webcam on my Microsoft, so it's probably not that great, but we'll get there. Okay, so I'm going to show you this indicator. And I have a lot of zones marked in right now, and I hate that because it looks so messy. So I am going to remove a few of them. I usually like to keep 2 above and 2 below current price. So this is close enough. We'll keep it like that. And what I'm going to do is show you the indicator. So it is on TradingView, and what it's called is just engulfing candles detector. So I did go over this slightly, I think, in my previous video, but I wanted to go over it in more detail. So you're going to click it, and it's going to, I have it saved so that it looks nice. It's nice and like pink and matches my chart. It's going to just show up purple though when you put it in. So you can just go to settings and change it, or you can leave it purple, whatever floats your boat. And essentially it's going to mark every engulfing candle. So if you're creating zones using the engulfing candle, you can see how that would make life so much easier, because it's really annoying to have to go through and spot them. And I don't want to hear any, but you should be able to spot them. Of course we can spot them. They're not that hard to find, but it just makes life easier, right? So once you spot the engulfing candle, I'll just go over once again my method of drawing zones. So first of all, it has to be at a support or resistance level. That should be obvious. Like a zone, any good structure, right, has to be at a level that's been previously tested. So you can start by just looking for engulfing candles, but really, like, you want to make sure they're happening at pivot points. And that's really easy for me to identify because I've looked at these charts for so long. But if you're eyeballing a chart and you want to know where those levels are, they're just at like the peaks or the little valleys or troughs or whatever you want to call them. So that's where you'll want to be looking for them, right? And then we're going to validate it afterward anyway. We're going to go back and look for it. So right away, I can see this guy here. So it's marked my engulfing candle. And what we're going to do is zoom in to make this nice and easy. I'm just going to grab the rectangle tool and box in the previous candle. Now, something people always ask me is, do I include the wick? And yes, normally I do, unless it's a really, really long wick that was likely due to news. I'm not going to include it because it's just going to make my zone far too big. And really what's happening when you see a wick like that is it's moving on to new structure anyway. So it's usually going to go to like the next zone. And we don't want to include all the space in between. So I can try to show you an example of what I mean there, but there would be a zone after that anyway. You don't want to work with a really large zone because it's going to make your entries really difficult, and you're going to have really wide stops, really far targets, and then it just spews your results. So I am going to include the entire candle here. And that's it. Okay. So now our zone's drawn. That part's easy, but we need to validate this zone. So I need to see 3 wick touches or 3 touches when we go back. Okay. In order to know that this zone is valid. Now, this gets a little tricky when you're trading like US 30 or certain crypto and you're getting to like new highs. And that is also a common question I get. And what I'll say for that is when you're trading new highs and trying to identify valid structure, you really just need to work on momentum and work on the lower time frames to see where you have the most touches at each point. So it's much more difficult. And then on the other side of that, there's no previous price action anyway when you're at a new high to be able to form like those breakouts from strong levels. You're not going to have strong levels there if that level's never been tested before, right? So you really need to learn to trade on momentum when you're trading stuff like that. But for the most part, this works. And I don't really talk about crypto a lot here anyway, so it's fine. So we're going to go back and look to see 3 touches. So I have 1 right here. I have 2 right here. 3, we could say that's 4. I can tell already, like, and again, this is just because I have a lot of experience with this, that this is a valid zone. Like I can tell you right away, because although we have a few areas of slippage, so price is not perfectly lining up with that level, I know that there are minor zones in between. And I also know that especially with gold, guys, you're going to see a little bit of slippage on any zone that you have. So we're going to go back though and just continue to analyze this level. And these are the areas of interest to me. So when I see price has, hopefully you can see that. I don't really want to get my pen out right now. When price has perfectly respected it, let me delete that. I'll have to get the darn pen. Oops, what am I doing? I do not want to get a color sample. No. Okay, I don't know what I did there, but just bear with me. So this area here, right? Like it's perfectly respected it. This level here, it's perfectly respected that level. So this is a zone that I want to work with. Now, something I kind of forgot to talk about, and again, this is just me doing it quickly because I know gold so well. Gold is my favorite pair. I think a lot of you guys know that if you've followed me for a while. But round number levels. So the first thing really you should do, especially when you're new to drawing zones, is make sure that within this area, and of course you're going to have a round number within this area, guys. Right here, it's going to be like 1870. You could say 1875 as well. Nope, that's a little bit above. 1870, there's going to be a round number within any level, right? But how you can start, especially if you're new to drawing zones, and I did go over this in my previous video, would be to take a horizontal line before you do any of this, okay? And so we're going to kind of go backwards a little bit. Draw a line through, you want to put it through as many wicks as possible, really. So like in this, let's say we were doing it in this level here. Let me just delete this really quick. Hold on. And then grab the, no, delete. Why are you doing this to me? Stop it. Sorry. There we go. Okay, so we're going to go back to this level, and we were at 1870. So this level here, let's say we were just starting out. Nothing after this has happened yet, and we're drawing a zone, okay? You want to include as many wicks as possible. Now, of course, you're going to draw, we have a resistance here, right? So we can draw it here. And let's use this as an example, actually, because we wouldn't be drawing a level right here in this case. So we're going to include as many wicks as possible. Really, all we can get here is 3, right? So once you draw that in, we've included this guy here. We've included these 2 here. There are no other wicks nearby that we could include. But if we were drawing it up here, let me give you a better example. If we were drawing this, oh my God, this drives me nuts. I don't know if it annoys you guys, but the fact that like it automatically puts, like TradingView automatically puts the next line or whatever, and you have to go back and click the little thing. Can I deactivate that? Does anyone know? Drives me nuts. So let's look at the line above actually, and I'll show you a better example of like including multiple wicks, because there was only 3, right? Here we have a bunch. So what I would do, I would actually go through and count, especially when you're starting out, how many wicks am I including? So here I have 1, 2, 3 to the right. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I think if I were to move this up, like here, where I'm including a few more, 1, 2, and I'm just counting how many wicks I'm including, guys. So just starting from the right, I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. No, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, so the lower area, I'm not going to go slowly and count those for you either, because it's going to take too much time. But the lower area actually included the most wicks. I think it was around here. And once you get it through that area, so once you've counted, and it, guys, I'm doing this really quickly. It might be down here if you go back and count, okay? It might actually be down there. We'll put it there for argument's sake. What I would do next, though, is make sure this is a round number. So instead of putting it at 1890, I would bump it to 1891, making sure you still want to include as many wicks as possible. So when we plot it in, I'm just going to go here and go 1891. So we're just going to round up. It hardly moves it, right? So we're still including all of those wicks that we spoke about, but now it's a round number level. And just price tends to respect these round number levels better. There is an indicator I can show you for finding those as well, but this is pretty simple, right? And let's draw in another zone here. And then we'll go back and validate. And then I think we'll stop. I don't want to make this a super long video. So we can actually draw 2 zones here, but let's focus on this area. So this is an example of an area where I'm not going to find a great engulfing candle. This technically, we could say it's an engulfing candle, but it's not great. There's just a lot of rejection there. We'll try it. And we'll see. I like to see, nice long engulfing candles like this one, but this is at a different level up here, right? And I'm looking for one down here. This as well, I'd honestly rather box in the candle next to it to the right, but I'm going to stick to the process right now. We might have to move this. That's not a great engulfing candle. So this indicator doesn't always pick out the best ones, obviously, right? And actually, no, I'm going to delete that because it's not including our line. So let's go back and see if we can find another area. And hang on, I'm going to just zoom out so I can do this quickly. There we go. Let's see if I can find something better. There we are. Okay. So I can see right here, we have a way nicer engulfing candle. And as long as you're going backward, guys, we're going to go backward anyway to validate this, right? So that's totally fine. Again, I'm going to include the wicks. I'm just boxing in the candle to the left, okay? And it does include that lower zone. Now I'm going to get rid of this. We're just going to do this one. And now we're going to validate this zone, okay? So we're going to go back and make sure there were at least 3 wick touches. And okay, so this is a really good example because I would move this. So because this is so close to these peaks here, I would move this down to include them. And this is very common. I want to include these wicks, okay, as many as I can while still ensuring that this is a valid level. And I can see multiple touches here, right? So I can see we have a touch here. I can see we have a touch here. But this is just, I'll be honest, this isn't a great zone. And I'll tell you why. And that's fine. This is good because I wouldn't use this. So this is perfectly fine. It's a good example, actually. We have just way too much slippage here. So when I say slippage, by the way, in this context, I'm talking about just wicks coming down below the zone. Some people refer to that as different things. I've always learned it as slippage. So that's what I use. But I would just simply move this down. So it's, if you don't have a great engulfing handle, if you go back and you're seeing a lot of slippage like this, you can move your zones as long as it includes that level, that psychological level. That's fine. Zones are just areas that we work with. And this is why we validate them. This is why we go back and we make sure that it works. And some areas are going to be a lot better than others just naturally, right? So let's take this and drag it down. So we still want to make sure that that line is included. But now we can see, and I'm actually going to remove this line because I know where it is. Anyways, let me just... Sorry, my computer's being really slow and I'm not really sure why. Maybe an update's happening or something. And now we can see that there are multiple touches, right? So this I would be much more comfortable with. We have a touch here. We have a touch here. Forgive me, my mouse is starting to lag. Let's go back a little more and just see. We did have a touch there, a tad of slippage. We have a touch here. It's still not a great zone, which is fine. That happens. Let me see if there's any other areas. I don't know how far back we are right now. No. Okay. So I'm just zooming out to make sure I don't miss anything, guys. But I think we're all the way back. So yeah, I don't love that zone. It's just not as strong, and that's fine. You're absolutely going to have levels that aren't as strong. But when you zoom out, you can see that it has been respected many times, right? And you can always move your zones around as well. That's just kind of the nature of the beast. Every zone is not going to be perfect. It wasn't respected as beautifully as the first one we drew in, but the overall concept still works. And that's how you validate your zones. You just go back, ensure that they have been respected. People get confused with the word respected a lot. It just means that price moved to that level and rejected it. So you see rejection and the trend reverses. That's what it means when a level is respected. It's respected as a support or resistance area. And that's really it. So that's the basics of it. Again, I draw these on the 4-hour chart, and that indicator can be really helpful. Just make sure that you're validating your zones. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. And yeah, have a great weekend, guys.